whamamalu atu. I he talamalu e whanua. Lotu pe a moe ako. Whatapato heni ki he ngahi tunga o tō pēu whatapoa i society koe e Tonga. O atu hene whakapapalahi ki he ngahi tamai, ngahi whae. Mea pehe whoki ki he hakotupo e whanua. Tala mo ka pui pe a whatuloa e tuheni ke whanua hau koe ni ko Amerika. O ku iai e tuk whanua mātonga. Wai whamalo heni ke me mipa ko tō apeo e tuk whanua mātonga mo whakau mai i he ngahi media wha sosiare ka tau te whito ki he pēsi Facebook a koe ni e kautahani. I he prokalama tātala noa ko ia e tuk whanua mātonga. E oik mai ka inga o ku tau maa e koloa lelei i e fiafi wha koloa koe ni ke tau kau whataha pe mo e tau taha koe ni o whaafe i ke kau mai e tuku atu a ene ilo tau kei a mo whawhi kau aki pa mo ene hala whanonga me e tau whanua tupu anga me i Tonga ki Amerikani i he malae o e ako whakaata mai. Pea, koe tau taimi e hawani i Salt Lake City, Utah, o ku ose minite tolua mei he walu e fiafi. Kaike, o ku tau fia kona o hinga koe taimi o e tau taha koe ni, ai a ko Drois Vi, kene kau whakataha mo ki tau tolo i he porokalama koe ia ai tuku whanua mātonga. Pea koe lotonga i lere porokalama, o ku ata be ki tokatahani ki ne whaangai ai tau rea whawhanua, ai rea whakatonga, ke koe rea whapapalangi. Keke, Joyce V, whewheha ke whamiri pa mo ngā we me wheitu koe na Davis County, Malo.
Malo pito Vermont mo whiui. Oku fuwewea. Oku saiwe mea ko tomi hen me Davis County. Oku go ngawi he for the court, the juvenile court. Go. It's been a challenging yet rewarding to work with minors out here in the Utah state. Yeah, that's I'm doing good. Working on the yard after working at work, so more work.
Malobi to Joyce pa ko tige kau whanongo me kau mui mai he paukalama. Koe hingoa fo koe ni koe hingoa whafo pitu ka koe aia o ku ngau aki koe e taurahani koe Joyce Vi ia ko tui tau loto ke tau tai lelea Joyce i hoa koe ni ke whakahoka te porokalama. Before we move on to, some of the questions, relating to education, technology, government, and, also our culture. Ki tala noa mai angi ki hotupu koe Tonga. Tell us your upbringing, back home in Tonga. Anga whewhe, whamiri, mo mahu inga ko ia o ako whaata mai I api I Tonga, Malo.
Malo pito Vermont. Nau tupaki kolo fo be ofi be ma bigi GPS nuka alo whako lui hake peke ako be lue foki ki api. Koa e lahi taha e toko nima mau ki whamiri. E o kas nima na mau hiki ki ha teho be nau whakaosilewa ki a tere sii. Na e kau e ako ha mena mau inga o pito ke mau o mātua ke whakalotahi e te mau tolu toko nima ke mau lau tohi. Ne ka matana ne ia ha taha e mau tori whia lau tohi. Kana na e whakatolahi mau pehe tata te whito ke tangata I ki ke mau lau ha tohi. At least one book in a week or two. go hi ne sio lolo ai ke mau whikunga ki he puta whakata mai he ka o e tokon ke te mau tohe tangu te mau awe ko ke osi me high school ke hoko te ako nei whaotlahe mau le pe ma te mau toke mau lau tohi e tupake api ko e nei whaku mau pehe whine ki ai pagi tohi second hand o whok me mui ki api o mau lau konga mi ai ko e mea e kai te ngawi au nei tiksi nali ni hau muia ki api a taha na manak mau ke la tiksi nali ngana e whanki whakatata i loto pene malo e na manaka mau foi leka ke nilo ko foi so whakatata pe kana au pe taimi pe she usually quiz me on these words after school when I go I feel like the spelling bees and stuff at school kamata me ku manako ki he lautohi whakabritania na kamata e he dictionary second hand pa mo lau go children's book from Sesame Street's Mickey Mouse and Lion King, all those sorts of stuff. But yeah, I'm grateful for my parents who create a safe environment at home for us to learn. And at times, now I learned the word is bullying, but sometimes I've been called like, oh, but I know lea palangi or lea Britannia. But I just ignore them and keep speaking, incorrect grammar. But I would read books that I had no idea what I just read, but I just keep reading and read out loud the words and stuff. And in high school, it makes sense to me what we learn in my English classes, focus on Shakespeare and stuff. So it makes sense as time goes by why my parents were were recommending us to read books at a young age. So yeah.
Malobido Joyce, wahe mai ko ia, tokoni ko ia ho mātua ke koe I Tonga, Pea koe whakaukau atu, koe hae uhinga na now, you completed your undergraduate and then you finished your graduate school. Looking back to Tonga, koe hae mea na mahu inga I o hongo mātua I he refa palangi pe koe ako whaata mai. What really, makes your parents prioritize, higher education, learning at home?
To be honest, both my parents did not finish high school. And my father was Nae Altahi before he changed career and do construction at home. And our mom was always sorry. Sometimes she would do handicrafts on the side to earn extra income for us to go to school. And they would always tell us that you guys should go to school and be better than us. So both of my parents do all that they can to accommodate for extracurricular activities and such for me and my siblings to pursue a better education than the both of them. So looking back, I believe my parents, I don't know how to say this, but they truly believe that learning a different language will be a stronger foundation for us moving forward and not just end in like high school, if that makes sense.
Yep. And I believe, a lot of parents in Tonga, they want us to do better than them. And but we're grateful for our parents for envisioning, higher education and the importance of education for us kids. You really like science in school, like in high school? But then, what makes you interested in science than any other subject in school?
Well, to begin with, my health science teacher in high school was one of the few persons who can pronounce my name correctly. Mr. Tamalolo. But my best friends in high school, we were all into science. So I kind of just got to go along with the fact that my friends are into science, but then I found passion in biology. And yes, molecular biology always fascinates me. But then I changed when I entered college. So I don't know if you want me to answer that question now, but yeah, I love science and English in high school. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, que lesson fo que science si fo que lesson oku mali oku lava ke ako it makes students think outside the box and ka koe pe te tā whoki koe le soni o whē mao ke te lau tohi, ke read every single day, me ngā ke te mahi no i whoki ai ngahi concept, a me ngahi whakaukau koe ai sainisi. Koe whewhe rewa ho anga ho whakaukau ki he tau whatunga motua, pe koe tuk whakaholo, pe koe urunganga whakawhonua, ngahi values, ma ngahi beliefs ko ia e tau Tongan society. Na ianga rewa o ai tokoni ai ngahi, for example, like the whakawei kola or the four pillars of the Tongan, which is like whakaapa-apa, koe lototo, koe mamahi mea, koe tauhi wā. How did it help you with your educational journey?
thank you for that question. Ko mana ko mapiki whakakaukau ko whai ka veko lau ko ikai ka ngahi. Urunganga tuk whakaholo peka ko ngai te whto i mo oni mo ui na e. Na lawa ka ni toko nia he taim ka tope, ke ka taim whainga ta ape. Hange ka whakapa-apa, na wako e me o KCE whakapa-apa, e koe ki he Amerikani. Na lawa ke o whakapa-apa ke o kaupalo whesa mo, and that way I was able to network and connect. And then, in return, I was respected as well and trusted in my peers. Ko anga whakatoki lalo, ne whahanga maupeo, whakamanatma ka te au that I didn't have to know everything, and it's okay to ask for help. Ko mene tahana lawa ke struggle ai how go ki Amerikani ke ako ko o ngoi whakamaia he ka pau ke mahi no hea whehui pika me ka lasi na fu maa o pito ke whehui. But humility reminded me that I don't have to struggle, and I don't have to keep quiet if I need help. So being humble allowed me to keep learning, grow from my mistakes, and to remain teachable. So that mindset is a strength, not a weakness. That really helped me to maintain good relationship from, like, for example, from my professors in BY Hawaii. I'm still in contact with most of them today. They helped me when I was in grad school, so I found strength in friendships and support from my mentors. And then loyalty, this is the value or ulunganga that kept me going when things were tough, especially COVID and not being able to return home and such. But my passion for learning and my loyalty to my family, my culture, and my dreams gave me purpose. And so I always reminded myself, I come this far, so I shouldn't give up. And yeah, so that's how the 4 pillars I learned as a young person helps me out here still to this day.
Maari au pito e whata noa, ko tui koe kauwhokia ai tau urunganga whawhonua o ku tokoni ki he tākatoa pe. o hao me Tonga ki ngai whanua muri, Amerikani, New Zealand, Australia, ai tau whākawe I koula. Pea ko tika kau whukia ngai mea ko whia mau ke fui mo tanu maki. Ai ngahi whākawe I koula ko ia. Ia tau whanua tupanga mo whanua peu tau nofo ai koe I he tainimi. Ka koe whakaukawa te taha Drois, before you came from Tonga, you want to share with us any form of promise? Did you make any promise to yourself or your parents or to your God? Benai palomesi ke hai ngahi palomesi. Because, like most Tongans, we pray, we are known as religious people, And I believe even myself, before I came to America, I remember vividly praying to God and saying, if you open the door and give me an opportunity to go to America, I will do this, this, and this, So, but what about yourself? Can you tell us, something similar to that? Any kind of promise that you make for yourself, for your community in Tonga, your parents, or even our Father in heaven? Mala.
Thank you. That is a tough question. Go matu mo pe e tu poge na ke ko tao na moidly. Like I was a very sickly child growing up. So I think that's why I found sanctuary in reading books, because I was in and out the hospital and those stuff. Anyways, similar to yours, I did pray and ask and I fast as well and ask Heavenly Father if you open a door for me to go and further my education. I promise I will not give up. I will pursue it to the end. God sometimes has a good sense of humor, because at the time I graduated from high school, I also received my papers to go serve a church mission. So I was very tempting to go serve a mission or to make use of a scholarship to go pursue a education, further my education in China. So that was very tempting. But looking back, I'm very grateful that I had chosen to go on a mission before pursuing an education. So yeah, I finished serving my mission in the Philippines, returned home. I did some volunteer work and stuff, and applied for BYU Hawaii. So yes, I did make a promise, and it was not a easy one to keep.
Oh, yeah. Malo bito waheva, whawofa ko ia. Pea ko tifo ko kawia I ngahi palomesi na tau whahoko. Pe tau hau I Amerikani, ko mea lalahi ua ko education, pe ko strive for a better life, a better opportunity. And now we're here in America, so I think, on a daily basis, we need to, self-evaluate, ourselves. Coming back to BYU Hawaii, angai pe koe ngahi whatalanoa ki mua, ngai prokalama ki mua, I Tonga foki o ko o mātua, mom and dad, una me whai ngā aue ko toa pe ke tokoni ke whanau, e alu koe ki he ako. Ka koe fo shift gear mai koe ki Amerikani, koe mea keke, o ko liliu e mea kotoa, you need to be more self-reliant, you do everything, anything, on your own. Okay, so if you want to share with us, how did you adaptability and relatability to the circumstance here in America, the environment, school, work, employment, vahe mangi ai, malo.
Bito Ramon. yeah. Kapana kaya ko pagkako kaya nga for I don't think I'll finished school. I learned time management, budgeting, and everything from serving my mission, and I applied that to when I attended college. Kaya may figure ko kaya matililay pe kamata ko semester ko Hawaii na kaya wala pa na nga ke pagkawa ako ni pangke for the my pay and everything to go there. So that was embarrassing, but na fa kamalo mo pe ke kautonga ko na na uraki mo Hawaii na lapin auto ko ni mo pe ku fe mau ko ke alu ki fe over ko me me fe mau ke whakakakato ko ke semester. Te mea whika ope na lava ke o struggle mo ia koe na o ngoi tu e noa o pito. Pero te whiti ke taimi na o puke ai pe koe whakme me ngā we, hela ia koe au ke kalasi at the same time. O ke kea mea kai, so I have to cook my own. Saimini was the best meal to eat in college at the time. And then the last one I struggle with the most in an environment here in the US is speaking up in class. I was so lucky to have teachers that have so much patience to explain to me if I don't understand a concept, even after class hours with the teachers. Man, I was so grateful for that because, like here in BYU Hawaii, for example, it was great. So we did a big class discussion, and then they give you a okay, ako lawe pesigo ni ke pesigo pa ke te mai hakitashi adaha. So that was I wasn't used to that. But I adapt quickly to how things are, and I was still not able to speak up in class after my first 2 semesters. My third semesters, I was very brave and raised my hand in class and share my thoughts and opinions. But it was a big struggle for me. It was a big struggle for me because in my mindset, it's disrespectful, but it's actually not. But yeah, those are the three things that I find challenged being in school here compared to how I'm used to back home.
Koe Bigo tatau be moe nito lai. Pako, perhaps maybe like all of us from the islands, o tau ma ke taurea, eke whehui. But I remember, one of my professors, she was a lady, and she told me, that here in America, if you ask questions to your professor, it means that you really like the subject and you really like, the person, the teacher or the professor. So, and from that time on, I wanted to ask anything, everything, even some of my questions, they were not so relevant to the topic. So, but ayaw ko mooni, ayaw ko fima ko I guess because here in America is all about open conversation, open dialogue, critical thinking outside the boxes, so yeah, so very good. And what about your major, were you when you were at BYU Hawaii, were you still studying science, or were you already changing to English?
I was studying molecular biology in Hawaii. Just because I grew up, and hear that becoming a doctor was one of the most respected careers and such. But after some time, I realized that I wasn't truly passionate about it. I just kind of go with the flow, and I guess I thought that it was expected of me. But so it felt like more of like fulfilling an expectation than following my own path. So that's why I switched my major to English literature, because I felt a very a genuine connection to my English classes in comparison to my biology 101 and my chemistry and stuff. I didn't have to force myself to be interested in the English literature. major. I just happened to found my voice in the subject, and the language was challenging, but that's what attracted me to the major itself. And I spent long nights reading, researching, and writing, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. So that was more meaningful to me than staying up late at night and studying for a biology test the next day. Yeah, so that passion is what made me change my major. Biology still fascinates me, even though I portray science for literature, but literature came with me a purpose. So,
Awesome. Koe whakaukau whakaia iho o rotonga ako koe molecular biology e BYU Hawaii. But at what point and how did you go about switching from molecular biology to did you talk to your academic advisor or you talk to your professor? Did you pray about it? I mean, what was the process, from because I mean, switching from molecular biology to or even, you were striving to become a medical doctor,
yeah,
but switching from science to English literature, I mean, it's not a bad thing to do, but
yes.
tell us, how did you go about that process?
Um, Again, like fasting was and is still like my best tool that I use whenever I come to like an section of what to do and what not to do. So I did fast about it and pray about it. And I don't know about you guys, but when I have a feeling inside me that I should do, then I walked to and talked to my academic advisor, and we had a long talk. And she herself was surprised. It was a big change. And then I added, criminal justice and legal studies. So she gave me a long look, and I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like I should do this. So, um, but the academic advisor gave me a great feedback, and I even talked to one of my English professors at the time before I made the switch, and Dr. Han's like, well, it is not for the faint of heart, and if you want to be the odd one out, so you're welcome to my class. um, so I switched. I don't know how to explain it or to express it in words other than like I remember walking to take my last biology test. I was so worried if I would have passed or not, and then I did pass, but then I don't know, I feel like I was a slave to that. Um, in comparison to when I walked to my English classes, things were going smoothly, and I remember what I read and prepared the previous night to report onto the professor. So it's the environment and where I found like my voice, and where it's like, so I respect um, science majors still, but I did not have the same passion to it as I did for literature.
Awesome. Uh, to what extent uh, would you encourage those, that had the have the passion for science in Tonga, but then coming here to the U.S. and like yourself, you want to switch to English. What would you advise them? What would you tell them? I mean, would you encourage them to go the same pathway, or what would you do?
Honestly, I would encourage you to do what you feel like you're meant to do and not just go with the crowd like I did. Because I felt like I was in that category of like, okay, family, society expect you to be this at this career and profession because you're so good at it that your mind, okay, I'll go do it. It's different. It's hard for us to step outside of Tonga and to discover for ourselves what is it that we truly want to do and pursue. So in answer to your question, I like, hey, tell what your guts tell you to do. It's just hard for us. I mean, I speak for myself. I'm a people pleaser, and I thought like, okay, this is good because most of my colleagues work in the hospital today, back home and in medical fields in New Zealand and other places of the world, and I'm like the odd one out. But am I happy? I am, with my choice, I can still find a way to help the community, the country, the state, wherever I am with what I am or what I switched for back then sticking to something that waking up in the morning is just like, oh, great, another day to go to the whatever, but I don't know the answer to your question, sir.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're right, but, with that being said, let's imagine we are going back to Tonga now. And,
Okay.
we want to go talk to our parents. We want to talk to the people in the village and even high school students, uh, what would you tell them, about, uh, selection or choosing their major of study, because you mentioned something, like sometimes we feel obligated, to the expectation from our parents, from our village. But right now, exactly that is not the way how it should be. So what would you tell them if you go back to Tonga next month?
um that was a good question. I would honestly tell the high school students to um truly discover and seek what you like and not what you're expected to like and be, and just to encourage the parents to give space to our kids, our children, to be who they are. I mean, forgive me for my answers, but where I work, I kind of see the other side of the coin where kids from good families are in trouble with the law and stuff just because of the parents expecting them to be this good in football or go to this university when they're done with high school. Everything is set out for them, right? Versus families from I am from or how I was raised. It's very different, but it's hard for the students themselves to even know what they are if the what is expected of them is more louder than their own voices to be heard. So I'll tell them to find what you like even if it's to be a teacher, that's great. Doctors, with respect to them, it's not always the best just because it is in society, in anywhere in the country, in the world. They're respected. Teachers should be respected as well in whatever profession they choose. So
So how did it feels like to be the first Tongan to be admitted to the that English
oh,
program at BYU Provo?
heavy, feel heavy. I was very proud. At the same time, it comes with a lot of obligation. Hang, it was so hard because I was influenced to do my thesis on an American piece of literature, but then I remind myself I am of Tongan descent and I should be proud of who I am and where I'm from. So that in itself made me change my topic, and everything changed because I felt like being the first person to be accepted to the program is a big thing, and I should make a good impression, not just for myself, but hopefully not for just Tongans, but any Pacific Islander out there who are dreaming or want to pursue it, but because of financial and other challenges and reasons, it's impossible, but it is possible. There's always a way. Yeah. So.
Oh,
Mhm.
and but tell us the process. I mean, I know you graduated from BYU Hawaii, and then like oftentimes, people, they want to go to work and start making money, start up a family, which is totally fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But with you, you wanted to climb up the ladder, to get your master's. So can you tell us a little bit more, the process, the application, the financial part
Yeah.
of it? Uh, what would you say?
Thank you. So I started the application during COVID time because I was let go from doing my academic training at the Polynesian Culture Center. So I work on an application. I have to ask for 3 professors to write a recommendation letter for me. And good thing I was good for most of them. So they were nice to write a good one for me in return. And, I have to write for the program. So it depends on what program you're applying to. So for the English program, the letters of recommendation, of course, and then I have to write, I forgot how many pages. I think it was 10 pages of some writing. And I completed that one. I submit, and then I keep praying and praying, and hopefully I'll get in because I had nothing to do at the time. I cannot return home because the border was closed. And then I got the letter, and I was so ecstatic. I called my mom and she cried, and then I called my dad. He was on the roof, and hopefully, thank goodness, he didn't fall down from the roof on top where he was working. So it was a moment of pure joy, being the oldest of 5 and first generation to go to college. It's still a blessing, and still proud to say that I wouldn't have done it without the help of family and relatives out here in Utah and in Hawaii and back home in Tonga as well.
Awesome. So what do you think? For the longest time, and then finally, BYU Provo decided to accept. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if someone, prior to you applied to the same program, but I mean, I just want to, what really makes BYU Provo, finally accepted, someone from Tonga, to that program.
Good question. I don't know. I mean, I have friends at the time that were applying as well, but most of them applied for the MBA program in at BYU, and I'm like, here I am, and I'm like, I know nothing about business administration, and I have no interest to pursue business. And again, it's like, well, what am I good at? Or at least I thought I'm good at. It's reading, literature, using my strength to my own advantage, kind of thing. And then I apply. I'll give it a go. And if I don't get into the program, at least I tried, and not regret not trying at all. So I just submit. I just do it. So guys, do not hold off. If you feel like something you need to do, faith goes a long way. It needs action too.
Okay, wow, that's awesome. So, what about some of your friends from Tonga? I mean, perhaps maybe they're still at BYU Hawaii, that that they want to, go to the same program, at BYU Provo. So, do you have any other advice for them? I mean, if they do want to pursue the same program that you went to BYU Provo?
Yes, I still have connection to some of the professors I had taken their class, and the dean of the program right now was my thesis chairman person. So I still have connections back there to the English department, and I would encourage those that want to pursue English literature to just do it. Um, like just be authentic, and just when you do your writing piece, and you never know until you actually do it, instead of I should do this but never do it. So I would encourage for those who would like to pursue English literature to go for it, and make all of us proud. It's a hard, difficult path, but it's the feeling towards at the end of the semester, or you walk out the class after defending your thesis, is a beautiful feeling, because you left something that it will be there forever. And you never know, your cousin and or I don't know, your grandchildren in the future, whatever, will end up reading your article or something like that. So we can always do what we can in the ways we know how.
Awesome. So, we were here, Tukfonua Matonga. We are promoting, advocating for higher education, for elementary school back in Tonga. And we sent some Chromebooks and to Vava'u to help elementary school learn English in Vava'u. And hoping, they can watch some of the YouTube clips, that educational that helps them with their English and learning English, pronunciation, and all of that. So if you were to help out teaching English to elementary school in Tonga, is it something that interests you? Like if you want to Zoom, from here, from America to Tonga, what you think about that will of like teaching the young generations in Tonga about, English, and perhaps maybe some of them will be interested in pursuing, that field here in the United States of America.
I think that's a brilliant idea. I was not perfect at it, and I'm still not, but it started with simple things like reading a book and just speaking it. And I would love to help if that's how I can be of help to our rising generations back home. I'll be all in for that.
That's great. We even like promoting the same idea to remote islands in town, because I'm not sure if you are aware of that, but Starlink, the service provider, internet service provider, data communication, or however they want to call it, is now available in Tonga, meaning that students from Uiha, students from Ha'awhewa, from Eua, from Niua, they can actually access the internet anytime, every time. So, and that's why we are promoting that. But coming back to your field of study, what are some of the career paths that that you can actually benefit from, by majoring in English literature?
So I'm a probation officer for the Juvenile Court 3rd District. Even though my major is English literature, and most people, when they first hear about it, I'm like, so how is that even related to what I do as a career? But it's relatable in my mind because major in English literature prepared me for my role in the court system, where my analytical thinking, I have deep empathy, like strong communication and cultural awareness that I developed from like the whakawekola, or the pillars of my work, of what I've been taught as a young person, now as a probation officer. So, while I've traded like literally criticism for case management and office hours for courtroom hearings, the heart of what I do remains the same. I listen to stories, my English major, I seek understanding, and I help people rewrite their futures, for the youth that make the change and are willing to do so. So in that way, literature and probation are not so far apart to me. They both believe in the same power of change and in the enduring complexity of the human spirit. So English literature, I'm so forever grateful for it, that I learned to strengthen my soft skills, comprehension, analytical, and things that we have covered in this session. So
Right on. Koe whakakau te lewa koe ki he ngahi pole, koe ngahi challenges na ke, you do face with, how did you able to manage your time, balance your time with school, with family, with church responsibility, even with like family functions or whatnot.
yeah,
Okay, how did you? I mean, the reason why I'm asking you this question, because like what I said earlier, we come from Tonga. Our parents, they do everything for us back
yeah,
home. coming here to America, it's a little bit different. There's so many things to to pay attention to. So, any advice or any take on how did you balance your time wisely and effectively?
Thank you. That's a powerful question. It wasn't easy at the beginning. Like you said, I have to manage my schedule, my class schedule, and at the same time, going back to BYU Hawaii, then I have to go to work for an hour or two or so, and then go back to my class. So it's like going back and forth, and that was hard to manage. But with practice and just like commitment, I would say I really have to commit to like, okay, I have to get up at this time. Go to my morning classes and then go to work. I'll have a snack or something before going to my next class and such. And in grad school was just crazy, like you said. Like, thank goodness I did not have a spouse or children. I do not know how my colleagues and friends who have family balance that versus me, a single person at the time, to manage everything. I don't know how I survived, honestly. But what I've learned looking back is that when I put God first in all that I do, things was go as it should be if I do my part. I always put Him first in whatever I do. I give it my best to my church callings and services to the community, and did my best as well in my academic performance. I was not the smartest in the classroom at all, not, but I was the person that never give up when I hit a, tough, okay, nope, I get up and keep trying again. I keep trying. So I am still today.
Hey, and I know like AI or artificial intelligence, is it becomes, it's a good thing, it's a good technology for the end users to use, but at the same time, when it comes to writing papers or research paper, like many professors, they're concerned about plagiarism and all those kind of violations and all that. So how did you handle, how did you balance the use of AI
Mm,
for writing papers, and what are the concerns of the professors in your
okay.
class?
To be honest, it wasn't a big issue in my program. Well, at first I didn't know it exists. I'm an old soul, so I go to the library and stay there until it closes at 1 a.m. So I have to leave at 12:45, start walking to my apartment. Um, but yeah, I I use technology like looking up reliable sources for my research and writing, but I'm kind of like a anti-AI person kind of thing because I don't know. It just defeat the purpose of learning for me. I prefer to write something, submit it, and the feedback given to me is more. It's worth it more than doing it in a robot, whatever. I learn more about the AI stuff now that I finished from grad school, but I never knew it existed, and I could have used it for my research. But I, yeah, I prefer going to the library, emailing professors, and talking to people the old school way, so doing research.
I know. So, I know you have a family now, your employment, uh, but what is the chance of getting to a PhD program?
Oof, that one is still about to burn a hole in the back of my head. Yes, my spouse is very understanding and very supporting of me going back to school. I'm still on the fence of whether to pursue Pacific literature or going to law school. Um, I've always wanted to pursue law. The English, my major was a great stepping stone for where I am today. And what I do now and my role in the juvenile court is actually a good place for me to network, connect with judges, attorneys. So hopefully, when things are right and save enough to go back to school, I can I can go back to school. So yes,
Great.
that is still there.
Good. Well, at least, your other half is, supportive of your, higher education. And that will be a wonderful, thing for someone to, get a PhD in the field you're studying. So, hoia koe whamalo koe ngā wela, koe whakahoko, me i ho tau, whafufunga i ho tau kakai me Tonga, eh? It's a good representing our people from Tonga. To me, that's an amazing journey for those who actually grew up in Tonga, come to the U.S. and pursue education or whatever field. There's a lot of sacrifices, a lot of challenges to face, but like I think the Whakawe Kola really plays a significant role in our journey for higher education here in America. So, but coming to your employment, I mean, is there like kind of some advice from you to parents here in the U.S.? So, about violence or something similar to that. But if you were to give us some advice about your employment, and I'm sure that, you don't want, many people to show up there, but what
No.
would you tell our community here in the U.S.?
Respectfully, I would advise our Tongan parents out here in Utah to like really um, pay attention, especially to the social media that your child is using. I work with so many cases and charges in regards to misusing and abusing that. And I just finished a work conference in regards to gang out here in Utah, gang activities and stuff. And I kind of like sit up straight when they're talking about there's a Tongan group, whatever. And I was just like, no. And that is one big issue out here, and just like make more time with your kids. We all know that both kids and I myself am guilty of spending more time with on our screen than spending quality time with our children and get to know what they like and not like. I mean, it's inevitable. Being a teenager, their frontal lobes are not fully developed, so they end up doing something stupid, But I would, I highly recommend like instead of belittling your kid and like pointing out the mistake and just hammering it down on them. Yes, you can advise them like, hey, you did something bad, but talk to them in a way that it's still uplifting and not like degrading, because that's what I'm facing a lot from my caseload is like, they do something bad at home and the parents view them as the end of the world. You're not good enough and all of that. Those negative things are very, very, very influential to how they think. Now they don't think that I'm worth it. So that's why, respectfully, I'll say this, why teenagers choose to end their lives. So we don't want that.
Maoni a bit, beko tau noho wakeni Amerikani whako. Tau whanau beko o ku pila mea kotoa. Totongi mea kotoa i Amerikani. Beko iai whoke si mātua whoke ni ihi. Nau alo ngā aue, a ngā aue u, a ngā aue tolu. Koe o hinga whoki ke lava o whakakakato i ngai whema o i whamiri. Ke pay a mortgage, or car payment, whatever it is, Pea ku hange o ku si le vai e taimi ke whanau, Kako tui koe kauia i he ngahi investment le lei au pito i e tau sio ke tau whanua, i e whanua koe koe tau whanau. Aega pate tau spend more time with our whanau I api. Ko tui ko tokoni lahi I mea ko tō pe, tokoni whasisi ngāu kau porisi, tokoni whasisi ngāu mautolu ngāu ko nā, ko aia ko api ko mea mau inga taha, Kai ke o ko tui ko taha mai eni ki whakaosinga ko kalamba ko ia whiawhini pia ko tui peke ta whakaosia ke whi whakau kau ko ni. Taimi ko ia na ke graduate the graduation ceremony in Hawaii and even here in Utah. Reflection back ke aho ko ia na whai graduation ko how did you feel about, walking on the stage, when your name is being called with your diploma? Your family, your parents were there, siblings and relatives. Tell us a little bit about event ko ia malo.
Thank you. So both my graduations, ko tōtahape na lava mai Tonga ki ako o si mea ko, it's my mom. But looking back, walking on the stage to receive my degree, in my head, I was thinking, kind of like rehearsing all the names of the people that helped me get there. It was not so much for the degree itself. I was like remembering all the names, the people that helped me, starting from Tonga, Hawaii, and now here in Utah. So, like I mentioned before, it was a beautiful feeling, but I wish I could there's I don't know, a clone of the degree itself and stuff for the people that helped me to where I am. I couldn't have finished this on my own. I was blessed with a lot of good people on my path to support me and continuously push me to the end instead of giving up. So yeah, that's what was on my mind on the stage. Because here, when I graduated from here in Provo, 2 days before the graduation, my grandfather passed away in Tonga. So I was feeling a lot of emotions that week. I went to Indianapolis for a conference. I returned the same week, Monday, Tuesday. I set my finals. Wednesday was commencements. I think that the day Grandpa died, and then commencements, graduation, I get married on a Saturday. So all that week was a busy week. But in my mind and heart, the day I walk on the stage was the people that get me there.
Wonderful. So let me ask you this. I know your parents are proud of you and your accomplishment, but what do you think about your own self? Are you proud of the work that you accomplished?
I had to talk to a therapist to even think of myself, because I'm always on the go. But I'm not embarrassed to say that I did saw a therapist. I pointed out to me that during the process and all the things that I've accomplished so far, I never really embraced the fact that I did it. And I say thank you to myself. It was more of like, okay, what's the next mountain to climb? Always on the go. That's not good. But now with what I do now with all the trainings and the conference that I'm to participate, I learned so much. And I now can say genuinely that I'm proud of myself. Instead of before this job and these trainings and even seeking professional help for my mental health, helps me understand that along the way we should bet ourselves and like, hey, you did a good job, instead of like, oh, you didn't do this, you should have done it this way. But I can say I did something good.
Oh yeah. Because sometimes we don't even realize the people that we are representing. We represent our country, we represent our government leaders back home in Tonga. We represent our family, we represent our friends, and it's a good thing. And thank you so much for sacrificing working so hard to get to that level. Koe nai mo taha me New Zealand. Nei o wale beku tohi me toka taha koe ni koe 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 whae o si wai family ka koe ne whaamu koe haha advice e oangi ki ai koe ngā koe loto ke alu ke whahoko e ne ako i New Zealand. Pero tipe mahalo pe na whanongo mai toka taha koe ni. Ki ai ka koe ko hange o kune pehe o ku o sto mui nai. Ai ako ki ai e ko se ai family o se moi whanau. Ka kapau te ke oangi hao ki advice ke toka taha koe ni. Ke haha o advice ki ai whaloto lahi ki ai. E he kone ngā o ku loto ia ke foki ki he ako.
Oh yeah. Well, it's never too late to go to school. To be honest, in my program, I think I had like 3 grandmas that were doing the MA program and another person with like 2 masters. And I'm like, man, I'm still trying to get 1 and you had 2 there. So I don't think there's an age limit to pursue a higher education. Like I respected these grandmas so much. They're like, man, I don't know, Again, I think it comes back to how we were raised, culturally speaking. It's a bit embarrassing, but that's kind of like the thinking that I don't like, to kind of like, for the rising generation to like, oh, if I get into something bad in the future, that's the end for me. No, I would say there's still a chance for you, and there's no age limit for higher education. Go for it.
Mahalo a pito. Ko tui koe ngā raanga ia ai whakaukau koe ki e whewhini. Ka kapau te ha mea, like if you do have any other thoughts or insight that you want to share with us, it's for you now before we end our program. Malo.
I just like to thank you, Moni, for this opportunity for me to share my education, my journey in education with everyone tonight. Ko ngā ia pite painga maria whawhawhua ni lawa ki waiwahe mo ki mo tau. Ko whewharato lahi pe ke tau tupua mai hako tau ki whanua ai tonga ke oa te mo loto si'i. Financial and stuff. I get that. I myself went through that process, but don't give up on your dreams. And when you get an opportunity, a chance to do it, like pushing a button to submit an application, go for it. So my advice is simple: is just don't forget where you're from, don't forget your roots, and don't just believe, but leave the 4 golden rules where all of us was raised to live, which is like, respect, humility, nurturing relationship, and being loyal. So no matter where you are or where you're going to pursue your education, be proud of who you are. Don't forget where you're from. Your why will always there for you when you feel like giving up. And that's how I survived education, and that's my motto, I would say. So yeah, there's power in pursuing your dreams, and never let anybody hold the pen to write your own story. It's yours to write, and it's yours to tell when time presents itself. So that would be my advice.
Malo pito Drois Vi ai kau mai ke prokalama ko ia tala noa ko ia ai tukfono matonga pe mo whamalo lo ta honga ke koe kone ngā koe o roto lahi ke kau mai o wahe o halafononga mai ko ia i he ako whaata mai mei Tonga ki Amerikani. Pe i kai peke ngā tai pe mo ngā hi liliu i he I ho major of study pia mo e loto lahi ku ke mao o ke o ke tuunga o e ako even the very first woman from Tonga to be accepted to a MA program at BYU Provo. Pia ko ia ko tui fia ai matua pe mo tahko to pe ke whanongo ki ho o tala noa mo ho story pia ko mau ate tala monu ki ako mo family ko tui ko to e pe ha whainga maari ngai pro kalama te mau whau ki mui ke kau mai kono i ngā perhaps maybe we can you can zoom from here to some of the elementary school in Tonga and speak to them and talk to them and encourage them to the importance of higher education. Ko ate wha malo ke koe Joyce, pa pe he ki o family, pe ho eki mo ka inga koe ngata anga ia e tātala noa pe mo Joyce i e whiawhi koe ni. Owa ke mō mao ha e whiawhi lelei mo ngai family, ia wha malo atu heni ke te mo tolu ko toa pe koe nei ngā koe kau mai ke tau brokalama i e whiawhi ni. Malo pito ka tau toki wakai i e brokalama hoko o whātu.
Malo.